What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Battle of Central Europe Season 3. This is going to be Game 2 of the best of 3 between BBC and Albumsheet. And my bad, guys, I accidentally hit the stop streaming button for 1 second. Hopefully it's not going to do anything. But yeah, you're probably not going to miss that much. Currently, BBC up 1-0 in this best of 3 after a clutch finish to the last game. I'm Mike Loris. I got Coucher here as well. And man, that game was probably one of the best endings I've ever seen.
It was pretty damn sick indeed. I mean, the Supernova just saving Wee there as a Terrorblade, bringing him back with full HP. Kind of, I mean, maybe they would have been able to kill off the Ancient even without the Terrorblade, because the Ancient was so damn low at some point, or at that point, and 3 heroes were down anyway for the side of Albumsheet, but excellent stuff nonetheless. Looking at the draft though, start is somewhat similar, at least the first pick Tidehunter for BBC. Ogre Mage I picked up from Albumsheet once again. Bignam, definitely a good Ogre player, but they also have a Zeus now.
So even more burst damage going the way of Albumsheet, maybe making the Skywrath Mage a little bit more appealing for them in general, and Elder Titan is pretty much the same idea. Gotta amplify that magic damage, and maybe for BBC they're gonna not let that happen. They are gonna grab their Disruptor and Tidehunter once again. I would say the Tidehunter pretty much did his job. Disruptor's Static Storms though, they weren't the best in the last game. Maybe this game Albumsheet aren't going to have a Weaver or something like that, but who knows what's going to happen. Maybe we're going to have a couple of missed Static Storms in this game as well.
It might happen, or it probably will happen. I mean, you can't land everyone. It's just bound to miss at some point. Exactly like random ravages happen. Sometimes you hit 0 people, although I guess that's not as common because usually you get at least 1, man. It's not that hard to hit ravage on 1 hero, to be honest.
Yeah, and well, it's low-hanging fruit for sure, but who knows? Maybe BBC are going to go back into this big team AoE team fight plan. The Faceless Void and now the Terrorblade are going to be banned out, with Slark being the second ban out from BBC, even though they have a Disruptor already. Last game they were kind of disabled light, and they somehow got around the Weaver when they needed to. But it certainly was a little bit too uncomfortable for them to do so. It's probably better to pick up a couple of stuns from BBC. Skywrath Mage, not necessarily that stun, but silence is sometimes all you need in order to deal with those heroes, so maybe they're going to go down that road. I think Skywrath Mage should be a high priority for both sides.
Yeah, I mean, the Skywrath Mage boosting up what Albumsheet already has would be just filthy as far as damage output goes. Not too many heroes can survive a maxed out Ancient Seal into just Lightning Bolt and Thunder God's Wrath. Make it so that there's going to be a Fire Blast and Mystic Flare as well. You can pretty much bring down any hero. Tidehunter might be the exception just because he has the Kraken Shell. But Albumsheet, once again, going for the puck. I mean, they had some pretty nice puck, just a pretty great puck showing in game number 1, to be honest. Unfortunately, they didn't win the game in the end, but it's not to say that the puck didn't play great. Yeah,
the puck play was pretty darn solid, and it might run into a similar problem that for BBC where they were going to be low on CC. Never mind. It's going to be a Naga Siren, and I don't think I've seen them run a Naga Siren before. It doesn't really seem like the type of hero to fit the style of the team, but do you think it might just be a mid-core Siren, pretty usual stuff, or maybe we are even going to see a support Siren?
I would say probably either safe lane or mid lane Naga, so as in a core role. It can be a support. It's something that I do believe Secret has been running a couple of times recently, but it's definitely not the hero that Falcon Bears usually go for, like you said as well, so maybe they're going for a little bit different, something, I don't know. I mean, Disruptor and Naga as supports, they don't really feel that scary to me, so I prefer probably the Naga as the core.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty fair read. You need your supports to be doing a lot more than what Disruptor and Naga Siren to do. Together they are pretty weak, and individually they're pretty weak as well as far as supports are concerned. They really need to be setting up for someone else, so that's probably not the best way for BBC to go. Albumsheet, they're going to pick up the Legion Commander in preparation for dealing with that Naga Siren. Honestly, they already had a decent lineup to deal with the Siren. Like, Zeus burst damage, first of all, is fantastic early on. Puck with the silence and the coil is great as well, and now that they have the duel, they are still looking for one more support, and man, the Skywrath Mage is getting better and better for Albumsheet. It's going to be a Wraith King for BBC. This is definitely an odd draft from them. Maybe they're looking for one more support, but I don't know if you want to have Wraith King, Naga Siren, Tidehunter be your 3 cores. It's probably not going to end well for you.
Wraith King used to be the core that Falcon Bears just ran very, very often. Like, it was the go-to core hero for them. Of course, I guess it was the go-to core hero for a lot of teams at some point, so can't really fault them for that. But the thing is that even if you duel up the Wraith King and he has the reincarnation, you're still going to win the damage. So they don't care if you're going to come back to life, or I guess they care somewhat because they might lose the fight after, but at least they get the damage out of this. So it's going to be somewhat hard for Balkan Bears to try to avoid that. Not too sure if it was the best kind of pick here in that situation. But last bans, BBC banning out an anti-mage, Jakiro taken out by Albumsheet. So Balkan Bears, I guess they firmly believe that the Zeus will be a support.
Yeah, that seems like it's a possibility. Zeus Ogre Magi, as far as damage output is concerned, is, well, a lot more than what BBC have, first of all, but it's certainly a dangerous threat. I thought you could safely assume that Zeus would be going towards the mid lane or something like that, but Legion Commander, Puck, Zeus, all heroes that we've seen in the mid lane in the past, so they definitely have flexibility in who they're going to be sending towards the mid lane, probably to deal with the Siren. Really depends on what they want. Any of these heroes can do decently versus the Siren, if not just completely win that lane. So for BBC, it's going to be a tough lane in that regard, and they don't really have great heroes to help out the Siren either. They might be able to rotate in occasionally with a Wraith King support disruptor, but like, this is no Vengeful Spirit Ogre Magi combo. It's nothing close to that.
Oh, it's most certainly not. So actually, now that I look at the lineup, it kind of makes sense as well that you would ban out a hard carry, just because Puck and Legion, I mean, Legion Commander can be like a hard carry as well if you really want to, but doesn't fill that role all that well, to be honest. But Medusa will be the pick for Albumsheet, so going for the extreme later phases. Although earlier on, with just the Mystic Snake and as well as the Stone Gaze, you can also start joining fights. And well, we'll see if they can just apply enough pressure, because Naga Siren, especially if it goes for the Fusel Blade, pretty good against Medusa most likely. Especially if you can somehow wait out the Stone Gaze, maybe like once the Stone Gazes, you pop out the Song of the Siren, wait it out, and then go back in again or something like that. So Albumsheet, the pressure is really on them to shut down the Naga, and now BBC, they go for the OD as well. So I guess Naga Siren, never mind, is going to be a support after all. But OD, man, haven't seen that hero for quite some time.
Yeah, it's fallen off in quite a big way. There are 3 int heroes on the Albumsheet side, and this is going to prompt Albumsheet to put anyone but the Puck in the mid lane, since OD just walks all over Puck in the mid lane. It's not even funny. So you don't want to do that if you're Albumsheet. Most likely it's still going to be the Legion Commander going to be going towards that role, but who knows, they still have a lot of flexibility in that regard. As far as the OD pick is concerned in general, well, the support Naga Siren Disruptor, I honestly don't really like the OD. Like, usually when you're going to be, if you're going to be running these passive-ish supports, you want to be able to have self-sufficient heroes. Wraith King's fine, Tyrant is fine, OD is fine, I guess, but their entire team is just really passive. And the odds of them winning the lane while being passive at the same time are just so incredibly low.
It's definitely somewhat of a worry if that is the case for you. I mean, laning, or passive lanes rather, are always kind of scary because you have to play them to perfection, just not at least give away kills or anything if you are passive. Plus, of course, you have to maximize your farm as well, stack up the jungle, farm it up with really anybody who's able to do so. So they're going to have to just do all the small things correctly if they're going for the passive laning phase. And one thing I have to say, that Albumsheet, I do believe they ran the Zeus support in the second game against Vega in the GG League earlier today. It was a great support. So it was like level 6-7 minutes in or something. He was like 4-0-1. I highly doubt it's going to get that great of a game, and well, they lost the game in the end anyway, but he got a lot accomplished for a support, so it was a lot more than I probably would have given him credit for earlier on, so I'm hoping for a similar performance.
Yeah, it's always nice to see heroes that are picked up pretty often, but you play them in a slightly different fashion. There's that with the Zeus Naga Siren support. I don't really have any huge burning desire to see Naga Siren support doing very well, since it's pretty much the same thing as Naga Siren Core, except it's a lot more boring. And yeah, that's saying something, because Naga Siren Core is like one of the most snooze-inducing heroes of the entire game, but you're pretty much just there for the ensnare, for the additional damage from the Riptide, and to bail people out with the Song of the Siren. Overall, not too overwhelming, and it's going to be maybe useful for BBC occasionally to set up for the Tidehunter Ravage, to set up for Levi's Static Storm, and if Levi misses the Static Storms after the Song of the Siren, then I don't know what's going on with him, then he cannot be helped. But at any rate, Naga Siren support, definitely don't want to see that much succeed as much as I want to see Zeus succeed.
It's just all in all Naga Siren, man. That hero, it's cancerous. I don't know. Even as a support role, Song of the Silence just reset the fight ability pretty much. And well, Albumsheet, they have a fairly good lineup to deal with what BBC has all in all, I think. First of all, do well to get damages even through reincarnation if need be. Although I would think that Chomi on the Legion Commander, his primary target might be either the Naga to make sure there's no Song to stop it, or just maybe go for the Tide Hunter because Kraken Shell, it shrugs off most things, but Duel is not one of those.
You know, it just occurred to me that the OD is actually really good at canceling duels. Like, you just put your own teammate in a bubble, he can't die, you kill off Chomi thereafter. It's more often seen with Shadow Demon, but the way those skills behave, Disruption and Imprison, is pretty much the same. So that might be a little bit more of a reason to pick up the OD in this scenario. It might be relevant.
It's not going to be bad. Also, the Essence Aura actually might not be too horrible either if they actually go for like 5-man pushes. Gonna mean that even Wraith King, who doesn't have the greatest mana pool, can still just throw out the stuns and get his mana back, for example. Although the Essence Aura, it was changed somewhat, right? Unless I'm mistaken.
I don't recall any changes.
I'm pretty sure there were like...
Go ahead.
There were some changes. I'm just trying to read it through at the moment. It's like base mana at the moment and whatnot. It's like, wow, what's going on?
Well, oh, it was... I don't freaking know. It's been too long since I've seen OD. It hasn't been relevant in ages.
Yeah, it's... I mean, I remember reading something from the freaking patch notes, but... Man, who cares? It works more or less the same. It restores mana when you cast spells, so...
Yeah.
All is fine.
Yeah, and for BBC, they don't really have that many skills that they're going to be wanting to spam out, at least when they're grouped up. It's not like they have any, you know, artillery sort of skills or anything like that. They're all pretty low range, and as far as spamming them out, their cooldowns are not that high, or not that low, so it's probably not going to be in the Essence Aura where they're really going to get value. The OD, looking to go up against Legion Commander, is going to have a very nice time farming, as ODs usually do. Has to watch out for maybe a roaming Ogre Magi Zeus occasionally, but very rarely. So OD might just get free farm in this game, and it's going to be just another OD game, guys. I mean, BKB is very good on him and against him, and it's just a matter of how many heroes can he hit with his ultimate, can he stack up enough intelligence, how well does he do in lane. All of that is going to determine how Wee's game is going to shape up, but let's go over the players because the creeps have already spawned. Wee is going to be playing the OD over in the mid lane. Bottom lane, it's going to be Hockey on the Tide once again. Levi's going to be on the Disruptor. Top lane, it's going to be Solitude's Naga Siren with Pedrinho's Wraith King, and he has a cage on his face. It's
a really weird cosmetic, man. I've seen it like once before. It's not the greatest achievement I think Dota has had. But for Albumsheet, Afterlife, playing the puck on the offlane, leaving Chomi in the mid lane Legion Commander, with Bignam already blocking off the Ancients with a ward. He's on the Zeus, leaving Inquisitor to play the Ogre Magi, and the last one will be Undershock on Medusa. But correct me if I'm wrong, but these days, or maybe overall, Aghanim Scepter OD, he gets the mana drain aspect of his ultimate even if you don't have more mana than him, or equal. So, may that be one of the items he's going to go for just to get the mana drain onto Medusa?
I thought that happened anyway.
I think it used to be like when you're on par or have more mana than him, but I think there's something like if it's the Aghanims, you get mana drained anyway. I'm not too sure even, man. It's I remember somebody saying something like that.
I think you're right. If you have Aghanims, then you will always get that mana drain, and up against Medusa, that's going to be really nice. The problem is that OD is a hero that just needs so many freaking items. Like, he generally likes to have a Force Staff. He needs as much intelligence as he can get, and then a lot of attack speed, and then an Aghanim Scepter on top of that. Usually it's Hanamitis first, and I wouldn't be surprised to see Weehaw go for that item, but that is going to take him a hell of a long time, and all the time that's happening, Undershock is farming as Medusa. And in a late game duel versus OD versus Medusa, it's been quite a long time since I've seen that, like 6-ish years or something like that, but I'm pretty sure OD comes out in a head-to-head duel with no one else fighting, but good luck actually having that happen.
Yeah, it's just the Arcane Orb, it's a sick ability, and just pure damage coming out from that is what probably allows you to win that 1v1 matchup, but like you said, those 1v1s are not likely to happen in this game, or well, in any game pretty much, so we'll see how well it works out. But OD mid lane so far, 12-2 compared to a 8-1 Legion Commander, so Legion Commander not doing that bad. Of course, has a pretty hard time even using the overwhelming ult just because you don't have the mana pool to support it. And if you had full mana, it would be only 78 still.
Yeah, you don't have the mana pool to support one cast, and that's sad times. 26 mana total now for the Legion Commander. Press the attack, pretty good, you know, when you could cast it if you have 100 mana. Almost enough max mana to cast it right now, but she's actually gone for the Poor Man Shield and a Quelling Blade. This is more the type of opening that I would expect from Wee's Terrorblade in the last game, just because he knows that he's going to be taking a lot of chip damage from this OD. He's going to be at the mercy of a hero that has a lot of base damage that could only increase further by stealing her intelligence. So for Wee, this lane is going to be extremely, extremely easy. And for Chomi, he's going to cast spells whenever he finds himself with the mana, because it's not going to be that often.
Man, life is hard. He's going to go for boots as well. No point to even get a bottle pretty much. I mean, it's not like you're getting harassed too heavily by just right clicks. And you're not going to have mana most of the time anyway to do anything at all. Although so far Wee doesn't have too much mana to work with. I mean, I guess he hasn't gotten too many procs of the Essence Aura or something, but looking at the offlaners, Afterlife, level 3 has 3 last hits. Hockey, in the meantime, also level 3 has 2 last hits. So both offlaners struggling somewhat, at least for farm. XP is pretty decent, I mean 4 minutes in being level 3. It's not that bad for a just solo offlaner versus a tri-lane.
And each of the safe lane carries are just pretty much doing their job, last hitting as per normal. It's going to be a regen rune grabbed by Zeus. Unfortunately, he will not get much value out of it. They're still going to put some damage onto Hockey, not enough to get a kill. Boots on the Tidehunter, going to keep him safe. Tidehunter, probably the one who's most vulnerable to death right now. As BBC, they don't have enough lockdown once again in order to deal with this puck. Wraithfire Blast is going to very rarely hit a puck, and maybe it'll land if they get an ensnare to bait out the phase shift first, but man, all of those things are just so unlikely to happen. Puck is going to be just fine to survive up on top lane unless he gets really far out of position like he is right now. This is their best chance of killing off Afterlife, and he's going to orb right through and then dodge most of it. No, he's still there. He is just completely dead now.
Well, he has a phase shift to dodge a little bit. He's waiting for the Wraithfire Blast, I believe. Never mind, not even going to phase shift that one out for some odd reason, so Solitude gets himself an easy kill. Can this Naga silent support just go for something like a Midas to actually be able to transition into somewhat of a semi-carry at one point, or?
Yeah, I think that's usually something you want to try to do as Naga Siren. Whether or not that's going to involve a Hand of Midas is a different question entirely. I think generally it's, what, power treads, drums, and then you go for maybe a Radiance if you're getting a lot of free farm. With that first blood, I think Solitude would benefit the team so much for just rushing the Hand of Midas. The income from Naga Siren isn't that high, and she doesn't have a huge impact ultimate like or along the lines of an Ancient Apparition or a Silencer who could go for Hand of Midas and be fine in that regard. But transitioning into a heavy hitter for the Naga Siren, that is definitely worthwhile. And Afterlife, he's actually going to abandon the top lane, and he's going to cliff jungle, and it's not going to work.
Oh no. The Dark Troll Summoner is too strong. He will not be fooled by the puck shenanigans. Chomi does come in to just try to stack up the camp at the release now, but this puck is not having a fun time at all. Hockey, in the meantime, has hit level 4 at least, so doing slightly better. Gonna find himself a haste rune as well. Not gonna be denied by Bignam, I believe. Hand of Midas still picked up one, the Medusa, so he's going for the greed as Hockey. He's surrounded by 3 heroes, but with the haste rune, he doesn't care all that much. Just gonna be able to run away anyway. But yeah, Hand of Midas and Undershock. But coming back for a second for Naga Midas, that would also give her the levels to actually have the lower just cooldown on Song if necessary for the fights.
And just you could use it to escape and then set up for a fight shortly after. This should be the build from Solitude, and he's holding on to 1,000 Gs. If he spends it, it's going to be power treads. I actually would have really liked to see the Midas right there. It's so close to the recipe, and then the other follow-up is just hop, skip, and a jump away. Maybe they figure we have too many heroes with Midas. We're not going to be going for a third, but...
they had 3 last game as well, man. It's the perfect amount. Oh, never mind. It was Albumsheet having 3.
Yeah.
So maybe they're like 3 is the wrong amount. 3 is the losing kind of Midas.
Yeah. Teams with 3 Midases obviously have a 0% win rate, so don't do that, guys. It's a bad idea. Naga Siren's still going to be able to contribute. It's kind of a shame since she was so, in theory, close to her Hand of Midas, but... Still, Hand of Midas on OD very quickly. At the same time, it's going to be Hand of Midas picked up by Pedrinho. Both these two heroes can do quite a bit of work if they get a little bit of gold, and the more work they're allowed to do means that Solitude is going to have more and more space to farm up, and it looks like they will be doing that right now. Solitude is going to get a little bit of free space, potentially in this mid lane, just to take a couple of last hits, while the Wii OD is going to be going into the jungle. This is a pretty standard move from BBC when Wii plays the Meepo.
I guess some farm is always going to be nice. With the Hand of Midas, makes it rather easy for you to clear up the camp there as well. And so far has 2 points into Arcane Orb. Usually you see like Essence Aura as well as Astral Imprisonment maxed out and then go for an Arcane Orb, maybe like 1 value point into it, but he's going for something different. I mean, I guess he knows what he's doing, so who am I to question it?
Yeah, I think he's probably just frustrated at the low amount of right-click damage he was using to harass the Legion Commander, so if you want to do more damage, you get more Arcane Orb, easy peasy there. And yeah, the Legion Commander was last hitting decently, still is, of course, losing the lane versus OD. There's no way around that as a Legion Commander, but now Chomi is actually able to die in this lane. An Imprison or two, dropping her intelligence even lower than it already is, and then following up with an Eclipse into an Orb Walkdown, and Chomi is not going to be feeling too comfortable to sit in this lane. Once the OD tries it the first time, even if it doesn't get a kill, it's going to force pretty much everyone from Albumsheet to pay this OD a lot of respect should they enter his lane.
Oh, indeed. So we'll see how well it's going to work out. BOCE3 Illusion Rune now going to maybe try to push out the lane or something like that. Not the greatest tower pusher otherwise though. But Ogre coming in with the smoke. They want to get themselves on the board as well. Definitely it would be nice if they can kill the OD, especially with the duel coming out from Legion Commander. There's the overwhelming odds. We actually might be in some trouble. The duel is there. Ogre can't even get close enough in time. Probably so. Fire Blast comes out. No duel win, but the kill will be there anyway.
Yeah, not really sure what the plan was there for Wii. He had Illusions just chilling, which was probably not going to be doing that much. He went up the high ground into a Legion Commander. Maybe expected her to have no mana, but that obviously was not the case, so he ended up just dropping his life pretty much for free and doing nothing in return. Fortunately for him, he didn't give any damage to the Legion Commander. That would have just been disastrous, but it's, I guess, good for Solitude. He's going to get a little bit more farm.
Yeah, and if you just look at the last hits, 35 on Legion Commander compared to 53 on OD, you would think that it's a huge difference, but net worth-wise, it's like 500. It's not all that bad. Legion Commander hasn't died. Got them 1 kill now as well, up to 1.4k gold. Is he really going for a naked blink, though?
I mean, he has a decently sized stack if he has the intelligence to clear it off, and he will. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stacks of hard creeps, so he will be very close to this item once he finishes that stack. They're going to try to go for Inquisitor over in the mid lane. No, they're just going to jack his intelligence. But I think Chomi, because he has the stack, it's okay going for a Naked Blink. Ordinarily, I would like a couple more base items first, but look at that, he's almost there already.
I mean, it's just the fact that, do you even survive your own duel if you go for it like that? I guess if you choose your just battles wisely, it's going to be just fine for you. But we'll see how well it works out for him. 2.1k gold. He can go for anything. He might go for a Hand of Midas of his own if he really wants to, although I would definitely prefer the Blink to that probably. So we'll see. Medusa also still keeps on farming up. They go for the Power Treads. Now Ring of Health, so going for the Lincoln Sphere build. Lincoln Sphere not going to be too bad in this game at all. Just Brave Fire Blast and Snare potentially. Just even, you don't even want to get Astral Imprison to just lose your mana, I guess.
Yeah, that's not good for anyone on Albumsheet, quite honestly. Like, all these heroes do need their mana pools in order to function. Maybe Medusa not as much right now, as she's pretty much vulnerable no matter what. But everyone's going to need their mana pool, so yeah, it's going to be a concern moving forward. Chomi, though, is packing enough gold to buy his Blink Dagger, so and it is going to be the purchase for him. He is still not on the board with dual damage, but with the smoke now up, he's going to look to change that. Possible dual targets, top lane, Padrinho probably not viable, mid lane, we probably the most viable. Hockey bottom lane is very difficult to kill, so we'll see if the Legion Commander can actually get anything going in the mid lane. If they have Afterlife with the coil, and they will by the time the Legion gets there, they will probably be able to kill this OD, assuming Puck has enough mana to cast all of his skills, and he won't.
That's really a huge deal as well. I mean, just having Face Boost as the first item on Puck, it's not something you see every day. No bottle as well. Although no bottle Puck offlane I've seen a couple of times, but there's the Blink duel onto Wii. Should be an easy kill with the other spells to follow. Thunder Gush Wrath even used for this. And that's, oh, it's not going to be a duel win. They kill him straight after the duel ends.
Man, that's a little bit unfortunate for the Legion Commander. Still, it's a kill nonetheless, going the way of Albumsheet, and it's a kill on a hero that you really can't afford to let get free farms. So they're playing correct as far as that is concerned, just a little bit short on the damage. But, you know, what are you going to do about that? With four heroes contributing to that, there's not much more that you can do. OD is still going to get his farm because he has a Midas, but now down 2 kills, or died twice, plus now Albumsheet are going to take a tier 1 tower down in the bottom lane. BBC, they just need more time for these Midases to work. They need to get this Hockey Tidehunter online. He has Ravage now, and, well, we'll see if BBC can actually land their big AoE team fight. It looks like it might be brewing in the mid lane, where Wee is going to return. Hockey is actually going to go down towards bottom. He has his arcane boots. Is he really going to wait until a blink dagger before he really starts to join up?
Sure, feels like it at the moment. I mean, blink dagger will definitely be nice. He has a double stack of ancients as well, which he can try to farm up. But show me now, with his invis rune, wants to set up something on Wee. Solitude is close enough, as is Levy. Oh, they pop the sentry down. They see Legion Commander. The glimpse comes back into the static storm, into the sentry he goes. Do they have enough? Well, with the ensnare, they most certainly do. Man, that was such a great sentry from Levy.
And I think that was because I saw that with the Observer Ward. I think the Legion Commander took the rune from the top side, but either way, they teleport pretty much everyone into this. Pedrino doesn't really do jack. He's going to move down towards the bottom lane. Blink Dagger is up on the Wraith King, so it's kind of understandable why he wanted to join that party. But Wee is going to get sniped in the mid lane. Okay, Zeus's Thunder God's Wrath. Yeah, we probably just forgot about that.
Man, he was under the tower. I think he dodged the Mystic Snake, or he tried to dodge the Mystic Snake rather with the Astral Imprisonment, although I think he took the damage anyway. And with the Astral Imprisonment, he stayed, I mean, not completely in tower range, but close enough that Pignum could come in with another Lightning Bolt, Arc Lightning, and just Thunder God's Wrath.
Alright, now the Zeus is going to dump some damage into Hockey. Orb through. It's going to just be enough with the Zeus's Arc Lightning. They're going to get a stun onto Afterlife, put some serious damage onto this Puck, but not enough to kill him off. Solitude also looking for an ensnare. They're going to throw another stun onto Puck, which will once again miss. Chomi has a duel, and Pedrino is going to end up giving damage to Chomi. Yes, he will. There's a duel. Song of the Siren. No, he won't. Pedrino's going to chill, and now he's going to start walking out. Has a blink out as well. Should use it immediately unless he wants to fight. He does. He's going to turn around for Undershock, and here comes Wee. Has an ultimate to throw. Will land onto a couple, but he's going to get stunned immediately. Pedrino is still fighting, but Wee's already down into the bubble he goes. He's not going to be able to do much once he comes back up. However, Pedrino's going to go down at the same time as Wee. Now they're going to chase forward for Solitude. That was awfully bold of them. The OD doesn't really have that much intelligence unless he sufficiently steals some beforehand. It's just going to give a whole bunch more kills towards Albumsheet.
Awfully bold is just a couple too many words. I just say awful from them. I don't know. I have no idea why they just didn't back off. I mean, yes, you have the reincarnation, and thank God it was level 2, so 160 seconds cooldown rather than a 260 second one. But OD, he came in thinking that his level 2 ultimate will do something. Well, so did I, in all fairness, but since it didn't have any Astral Imprisonment stacks or anything, the ultimate pretty much did absolutely nothing there. So he couldn't right-click with his Arcane or couldn't get the damage done that way. It really feels like he kind of needs a BKB now next.
Yeah, but even if he gets a BKB, he's not going to be able to do much damage. So that's the problem with OD. That's one of the reasons why we just don't see him that much, is because he needs so much to get going. That would be very different if he had, 3 or 4 casts of Astral Imprisonment beforehand. He could have destroyed pretty much everyone on Albumsheet, easy peasy, but that's not possible in most scenarios because it takes so much time to get those intelligence stacks off. So OD, unfortunately, is not going to be doing that great. 1-4 now on Wee. He's going to be going to the jungle just to resort to farming that, just because there's nowhere else that's safe for him to go. BBC, they should have just bailed after the song, quite honestly. Like, the numbers weren't in their favor, and when you sing for that long, the enemy team is going to know that they're going to be set up on something. So they're going to be teleporting everyone in.
Top tower is under attack.
Well, all I can say is that Pignum so far on the Zeus, 2-0-3. He's just overall such a great support player, but Inquisitor, he's gonna get caught now. No amount of multi-kill or multi-cast skill will get you out of that, so he's gonna go down, although Chomi comes in with Praise Tech as well. Never mind, are you kidding me? He's gonna escape into the Static Storm. He gets out of this, he's still running away. Probably gonna die in the end. A few more right clicks. Brave Fire Blast, blink forward. Yes, they get the kill. I mean, for a second I thought I'm gonna have to eat my words, but Chomi, he goes in. The duel will come out now. He's gonna win the first duel finally. 17 minutes in. But he Astral Imprisons himself. That's fine. All is fine. Just calculated.
And if you're excited about casting that Astral Imprisonment, suddenly you double click it and then you can't get anything done. Levi's going to try TPOI, gets bolted. Now Chomi's right on top of him. Levi has a Static Storm. Turn around for a right click. That's not a good idea. He's going to go down, though I think he was going to go down anyway. Honestly, I don't know if the OD could have even helped out, even if he did get the Imprison out, but BBC, they end up losing their Wraith King. They end up giving their first stack of damage over towards Legion Commander. They're just slowly but steadily falling very, very far behind. And what do they have that's going well for them? The fact that they have a couple of Blink Daggers on their heroes, a couple of Hanamitises as well, but clearly Albumsheet don't really care for that at all because they have a Medusa who hasn't been touched this game. And, well, all of BBC heroes have been slowed down in some way, shape, or form. Undershock has just been getting assists, getting farm. He's going to go for a Lincoln Sphere this game. I think that's perfectly fine. And he's actually going to have that right now. This Medusa is going to be a problem hero. And not only that, but everyone else from Albumsheet is going to be a problem hero because BBC, they're just constantly feeding themselves over.
Well, Puck has the blink now as well, although just face boots and blink. Doesn't have too much survivability to him. So if he does get caught by a Ravage, let's say, he's going to be probably just dead straight out. But so far haven't seen any great Ravages. Of course we haven't seen blink Ravages before either, so he has the blink to work with a little bit better. But Zeus, a support pick now. He's level 11. He is halfway down through the Aghanim Scepter as well. He's just getting so much farm once again. He has more farm than their own Puck does and almost the same as the Tide.
And Chomi is going to look to capitalize off of that Zeus's damage. Trying to go for Solitude will not make that happen. We'll actually get glimpsed back into a Field Static Storm. This time it's going to land. Levi's been pretty much on the mark. They're going to throw the Ravage. Afterlife is going to jump into the Static Storm, and he will be brought down because of said Ravage. Pedrinho is now here. Has a Blink Wraithfire Blast in 1 second. He's going to get that canceled because of Arc Lightning. He's going to throw it instead over the way of Bignum. He's now stuck in the trees, and he's going to try to turn around and do as much damage as he can. With the Thunder God Wrath, he will kill off the Siren, and he will also proc the reincarnation of the Wraith King. He has a blink out, and he will use it, Pedrinho, to get the hell out of there. But going for this Zeus is deceptively tanky, first of all, and BBC were not at full strength. They had a really nice Ravage Static Storm combination, but OD was not there to continue on with that chase, and Albumsheet, they disengage and also get that Naga Siren kill for the road. This Zeus is, although a support hero, he's pretty much at where a core Zeus wants to be right now.
Yeah, I mean, he's doing really well for himself. And that blink from Afterlife, I mean, okay, you kind of could have expected a Ravage, but it's not that big of a deal that you got Ravaged immediately as you blinked. But literally, the blink position was straight into the Static Storm, which had been there for a couple of seconds already. Why the hell would you choose such a location?
Maybe he thought as soon as he blinked in, the Static Storm would stop. Maybe he can't
My
count.
presence will soothe the storm.
It's like, hey, oh wait, now he's gonna run straight into a Naga Siren, and well, he gets bailed out. Coil is there. Pedrinho's gonna throw a stun over towards Chomi. Glimpse back on the Puck. He's gonna heal up pretty decently, but still, Bignum's doing a lot of damage. Now to Pedrinho, they're gonna go. OD ultimate once again doing next to nothing. Undershock, though, completely out of mana, is gonna be forced to retreat. Ogre Magi gets put into the bubble. Hockey does not have a Ravage any longer, and he's gonna be completely surrounded very quickly. Bignum also doesn't have that much mana, so everyone is running dry right now, and that might mean everyone is gonna be able to escape until Bignum pops another Soul Ring, has another Lightning Bolt to throw. That's just going to be the death of the Wraith King. Everyone else barely limping away because of lack of mana. And, well, maybe the tower is also going to go down as well. But BBC, once again, on the short end of a trade. Now 10-6 down. And Undershock's more than happy to tank this tower. Maybe deniable. Yes, it will be denied. Chomi, maybe looking for some revenge, though, is going to not pursue them out. Tower deny, of course, going to be hurting Albumsheet. And BBC so desperately need any advantage they can get. But right now, Albumsheet, they have pretty much complete control of the game. All Tier 1 towers down in their favor, whereas they themselves have all Tier 1 towers still standing.
Yeah, they don't really even need a Stone Gaze so far, just because there's nobody really coming in to right-click them, or at least nobody that would be scary enough when they do so. I mean, Wraith King, Blink, Wraithfire Blast, definitely a strong ability, but he's hitting for 97 damage. I mean, yes, you can crit as well, but even the crits won't be that scary just because the base damage for the crit will be so damn low. They just need more damage output, or just properly chain their ultimates together for the AoE damage that it can provide. So far though, it just comes in, throws in a few right clicks for the ultimate and one Astral Imprisonment, and after that he's so low himself that he has to just run away already.
And that's just the fault of BBC's draft. They don't really have those huge damaging heroes. Wraith King gets okay when he has a lot of farm, but he's still very far away from that status. Wraith King is in fact going to get dropped very, very low. Where's the Blink duel? Not there quite yet. Padrinho, actually Chomi has his hands full with Wii. Ravage is there to cancel that duel for now. Song of the Siren's there, but Chomi's going to win the duel anyway. They canceled the Song of the Siren because Static Storm was on the deck, and they will be paid for it. They're going to chase forward for Padrinho. Does not have a reincarnation any longer. Nice coil from Afterlife. Going to connect onto 2. Padrinho is dead. Hockey's going to get stunned up, and he's going to die as well. It's a feeding frenzy, and Albumsheet are going to collect big off of that. Once again, it's going to be more damage from Chomi. A nice coil from Afterlife. Bignum doing the damage, and everyone at Albumsheet firing it off on all cylinders. Whereas BBC, they did pretty much nothing right there.
So, looks like this game is just slowly but sure, maybe not even slowly, but pretty fast, just spiraling out of control in the favor of Albumsheet this time around. They are definitely looking extremely good to actually take game number 2 and take this to a third game of the series. Of course, compared to me, they still have the Hand of Midas running, so they're getting something out of this. I can't help but wonder that if well, I guess even if Solitude had gone for the Hand of Midas, just the way things have been going, wouldn't have too much to follow up, but I mean, drums as well as power treads, it doesn't feel like it's like super bad farm or anything, really good items, but what can the Naga Siren actually do?
Use Song of the Siren, hope for the best with Riptide. This is the weakness of the hero, is that she doesn't actually do that much unless the rest of your team is doing everything for her. And sometimes that's fine, she gets a lot of farm, she survives those fights, and her score isn't the worst right now. But it just feels like she isn't really doing anything. Her damage output is very limited as far as supports are concerned, especially when you compare her to the Zeus. And, well, Padrinho might be dueled up again by Chomi. Wraithfire Blast is there, and it looks like Chomi actually hesitated on the duel. I don't think it would have been a one duel, but it's actually going to be Ogre Magi to get jumped as he's trying to shop, I suppose. Or ward.
Yeah, probably went up the stairs to ward, but Kinetic Field was waiting for him. Static Storm used for that as well. But even with 3 heroes being there from almost the get-go, then even we came in to follow up, they still took a just really long time to kill an Ogre, and it's not like this Ogre is getting close to that Aghanim Scepter or anything, it's just Tranquil Boots, Ogre pretty much. Even that kill took them so long. And Undershock, he's gonna have an Eye of Skadi finished in about 1000 gold, or 1.2k.
And that's pretty scary from BBC already. They haven't killed off the Medusa a single time. I guess, to be fair, they haven't really tried that hard, but Undershock is going to be nigh unkillable once he finishes that item. And BBC, they still have the dream of, you know, maybe deplete the Medusa's mana and then make something happen, but Medusa has quite a bit of intelligence. OD barely has more, so Wee's going to be doing like 100 damage or something like that to Undershock with his ultimate, and most of that's going to be absorbed by Mana Shield, so that's not even a realistic possibility right now. Albumsheet, they have pretty much everything going for them, with the exception of the fact that BBC, they have Hand of Midas's ticking as well, so maybe the Hand of Midas advantage is going to pull BBC out of this, but that seems extremely unlikely as of right now, as they're going to lose yet another tier 2 tower.
Man, they're just losing so damn much at this point. The Medusa is... It's just so ridiculous how strong he is. Although he's not joining too many fights, or rather Albumsheet are not fighting too much with the Medusa, it still feels like his presence already is enough in the way that Albumsheet, they just feel safe having that hero farm up at that point. And top lane Chomi wants to go for Padrinho. Wii comes in as well. Pandaga's Wrath does reveal the vision. So Chomi not going to go for the duel. The ultimate got popped from Wii, but Chomi still alive. Might be able to blink out. Blink coming off cooldown 1 second. He blinks away, multicast onto Wii. Inquisitor comes in for the kill, and now Padrinho might still get chased down. He goes for the TP out, has to cancel it, but the Dream Coil and the duel will be there. He has the reincarnation, but damage will go to Chomi anyway, man. This is just going from bad to worse.
And here comes Solitude to maybe save everyone. The Static Storm is there onto 3, but you actually blink out of that before Static Storm could actually do damage. That's actually pretty insane. Wow. But yeah, it's a disengage from BBC. They don't end up losing their Wraith King, so I guess that's fine, but they also use Static Storm. That doesn't do anything. They're giving more damage to Chomi. Even though it is not as big a win as Albumsheet really expected, it's still something that they can call a win, and no one will disagree with them in that regard. So the rest of the heroes, Albumsheet, they have Undershock, who is still just PvEing this game up. He's taking down the last tier 2 tower, and Zeus has Aghanims finished. This is looking really, really bad for BBC. They need to take an amazing AoE team fight or else they're just going to outright lose the game. And once this Roshan falls, even if they do take said outrageous AoE team fight, then they still might just lose the game.
Man, Chomi will have a BKB now as well on the Legion Commander, so he doesn't care about literally anything that BBC has to throw at him. There is no massive physical damage coming out that he should be afraid of at this point. So with the BKB, he should be near immortal on the Legion Commander, just can easily blink in, duel whoever he wants. Unless it's really 1 versus 5, then he might have to worry a little bit probably. But Roshan going down slowly but surely, Undershock just taking it by himself. He has plenty of mana and health regeneration to just deal with this. Bloodlusted up as well, which is level 1 only, unfortunately. But BBC, they're hanging about, they want to go for something, and they kind of have to stop this. They just can't give away an Aegis to this farm of a Medusa.
They have a Blink Ravage, but that's about it. They don't have a Song of the Siren to set up. They don't have the Eclipse. They have a Static Storm, but they're going to actually engage with the Afterlife first. He gets glimpsed right back. I don't really know what Afterlife's plan is here. He's buying space, I suppose, and in that regard, mission success. The team now has an Aegis, and maybe they can fight decently well even without this puck. It's going to be going for Padrino, who's actually stuck behind the trees for now. He will chop that down and then get himself out of there. But maybe they're going to find someone anyway. Chomi, maybe looking for a blink. No, they're just going to farm up a double stack of Ancients, and puck for Roshan. I think that's actually okay for Albumsheet, because puck's going to be up in 20, but you're going to have the Aegis for a lot longer than that. They could go for a high ground push after sacrificing that puck.
Yeah, it's probably going to be a pretty smart choice as well. I mean, they have the BKB, they don't really have any huge items to wait for at this point. Having the Aghanim Scepter also done on Bignum from before. So, well, it's the fourth. Yes, it's a 4-step for the Ogre Magi as well. Even not even going to just rush the Aghanims or anything. Just get some mobility towards yourself. But Padrino, is he going to get caught in the jungle? Once again, he has the reincarnation available for himself, so it's not going to be that bad even if he does get caught. But looks like they are just going to go straight down the mid lane, try to get Drax. And probably what's to stop them? I mean, they have the Aegis, they can definitely try to do it. BKB is there on OD, so that's a good sign, but his own damage output is still a little bit lackluster.
Alright, so OD has like 2 of the 3 parts that he really needs. Has the magic community, has the mobility, survivability. He just needs the damage now, and right now, pretty sure OD is more or less ignorable by the Albumsheet side. They're going to set up on the Medusa, but in the meantime, it's going to be Padrino getting caught in that duel. The duel will be won, and Undershock is going to get bailed out. Here comes the coil onto 2. We and Solitude going to be in a lot of trouble. In the meantime, there's a Ravage off to the sidelines, which will help to kill out Bignum, maybe, but he gets his ultimate off beforehand, and even he's going to survive because of the heal. He's going to turn around and kill off Hockey in the meantime. It's going to be Undershock still playing PvE. They're going to kill off Levi in the meantime. That's 3 kills on the left side of that fight, whereas Undershock, well, he was messing with a couple of BBC heroes, didn't really get pressured at all. He has now creep support and the rest of his team joining him. It's a 3-for-0. Bignum doesn't even die there. He unleashes an Aghanim ultimate. This has got to be Rax's, because BBC, they only have 1 more big ultimate left, and OD's ultimate has shown that it is clearly not enough to actually do anything. Hockey going to blink in. He has to force-staff his way out of there, and he will be able to survive that, but you can't really afford to get that close to Undershock. He's going to force-staff back in, and then obliterated by the Zeus damage with Inquisitor's help. Undershock is not even like paying attention to these enemy heroes. He's just attacking the Raxes, because that's what you're supposed to do in this game. Killed the base, and they will take down 1 set of Raxes, and conveniently the bottom lane is also very pushed in for BBC. They're going to leave the range Rax there. Undershock just tanking the tower. Now another blink duel going to catch onto Wee. Orb is going to kill him off. That's going to be a duel won by Chomi, up to 88 damage now. GG is called.
I mean, Albumsheet, just a deserved victory. Really well played. They didn't just give any chance to Balkan Bears. BBC started off nicely with a couple of kills, but went for the hand of Midases, and suddenly Albumsheet, they got active. They started to punish just everywhere. They got the kills, didn't allow for any proper Ravages to come out. Even the last Ravage only caught Bignum, and if it's a support Zeus, the only one getting caught in a Ravage, you know, just things are pretty bad.
Alright guys, that's the end of game number 2. Game 3 is going to be coming up very shortly. Winner moves on. Loser is out of the tournament. I'm Mike Loris. I've been joined by Coucher. We'll be right back for game number 3.